I don't know what sort of heat you have, but the reset thing wasn't kicking it right, and it just took a little bit more zhuzh. It was a cold night and a cold morning, but other than that, we're good.
Right. I have steam radiators.
Okay.
And they, sometimes I worry that they clang while we're doing the show. But
no, I don't hear them. But what's making the steam? Is it gas? Is it electric?
Gas. Gas.
That's where we're going.
What do you call it? Gas boiler.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I have too.
Yep. Love gas.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to refill it. It comes right into your house. Sure, it explodes once in a while, but otherwise you're good.
No, I was told there's all sorts of fail safes and so forth that you really gotta go out of your way to have it explode.
Right. Well, if there's anybody who could find it, it would be me. So
right, or me. Like I said, I thought it was me this week, but no, it's just I had it with the. No, we're not supposed to talk about the weather, so it's warm in the house.
You still have till the end of 2024 or 2023, man.
No, listen. You make your resolutions, and you just don't say, "Well, this arbitrary date."
Yes,
January 1st.
That's what a fucking New Year's resolution is.
No, but I don't want it to be a New Year's resolution. I want it to be a life resolution.
Loser.
Yeah.
Makes it easier if it's a New Year's resolution. That's why I make it like you're gonna eat better, and then you eat like a pig all in December.
Mm-hmm.
That's good living, Joe.
So, obviously we're a week removed from my doctor's appointment. I've been eating better for me, which again, still not great, but still better for me. I did eat poorly on Sunday, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I'm having my first soda in a week today, and it's just the diet ginger ale that I'd tweeted out before, but that's the first soda I've had in a week.
I saw you X that out there, and it looked delicious.
It is, delicious. And I had people tweeting at me that I have to try this Verner's. Are you aware of this soda?
Is our podcast Cheap Pops coming to fruition?
Maybe you and Michelle.
All right, the EVP of sodas,
right? But
no, I've never heard of this.
Verner's has little to no social media presence. It's mostly just tweeting out of when people complain about their soda. They have a contact link in their bio that doesn't work. So what sort of bullshit company is this, right?
Right. Good one, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
They don't even need to promote stuff, so that's how good they are.
Right. They don't need a big ad or proper spelling. I agree with that logic.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Who needs spelling?
Or links that work or anything like that,
I guess.
So speaking of which, we talked about it when we recorded the Patreon show this past week, but there was an issue when I was trying to post up the At Odds show. Yeah. That I'm fingers crossed we're not going to have any issues with tonight, but hopefully the workaround I have works. We host everything through WordPress, and hopefully there's no issues with the WordPress site tonight. But it was just so frustrating, and it's like little things out of your control, like the stuff that I fuck up, like I don't get so upset about, because I'm like, I know I'm a fuck up, and I fucked it up, right? But when it's stuff that's out of my control, like the stuff that we were having with the furnace yesterday and today, and the stuff with not getting the show to post on the site last week. These are things out of my control, but it was infuriating me.
Right. Well, how come you didn't have a problem with the After Dark then?
Well, no. So that's the thing. Like, when we record both the shows, After Dark and Longbox, on Tuesday, I put them both up on Tuesday. The file is already on the site, uploaded to the site.
I gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. I thought maybe it would kick it off.
No, when we're done with everything and the post for the main show rolls out, I go and I schedule the post for After Dark. The file's already uploaded. The post is already written over on the Patreon. I just got to copy paste, put it over the WordPress site, scheduled to go out at midnight on Friday, and I'm done. The file's already there. It was adding a new file to the site that was giving me the problem.
Gotcha. But you see what I was thinking. I was thinking it was just the posting of it, if that makes any sense.
Right. It wasn't the posting. I could have posted the show with no file. So the show goes out, the post for the show goes out with no show attached to it.
Yeah, that's the way all wrestling podcasts should be.
All right. So like I said, fingers crossed, we'll see how things go with this tonight. And I know it is the holiday season. We didn't get a chance to talk about it much since its inception, but as many of you are listening to this, we are mere days away from the culmination of all the fish math that Todd has been doing. The tweets go out of him in line, showing the line, everything else at the Long John Silver's. Also not a sponsor, but should be.
One of the last holdouts around here for Long John Silver's.
I drive by that one by me at least once a week, or at least I try to, especially at night, just to make sure that the lights are still on, and the lights are still on.
That's good. I didn't know where there was another one. So I think Dixon is going to be the Dixon Scranton one is going to be, if anyone's going to fall last, it's going to be that one.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of traffic there. You know what I mean? But I'm getting ready for it. I'm worried about vinegars and tartar sauces, because the last couple of years they've been super stingy with them, and my father loses his shit if I don't bring enough if say I get, there's 10 people at the thing and 8 of them are eating fish and 5 of them use tartar sauce and or vinegar or both at the same time, my father feels I need to have 32 of each.
Right.
And if I only come back with 7 each, and they're all used up and, nobody wants more, that's still a failure. I need a bowl, because my father's in the free is good kind of thing. He'd be always like, you going in there? If they have calendars, get me a couple. Well, how many calendars do you need? And then me and my brother and my one guy who knows my father really well, we call shit like that floor mats after that, because they end up on the floor of his truck. And they all waterlogged and stuff like that. So anything he gets a bunch of free stuff, we end up that it's just going to be a floor mat in his truck.
Yeah.
But, so I hope I could get everything, and it'll be Sunday is Christmas Eve. So I'll probably be going around 2:00-ish on Sunday, because we eat at 5, and then the stove just keeps it warm, the thing. So that's my plan. Hopefully it all works out.
Now, don't they give you the tartar sauce in those packets?
Yes, but there's a lot of times it's a young kid who will stand there and be like, I was told you get 4. You know what I mean? Now, I'm kid, don't make me pull you over the counter.
Right. I'm a fish professional.
That's right. I've been doing this before you were a gleam in your father's eye.
That's right. Now, what would be stopping you or your father or anyone else there from just going and buying a bottle of tartar sauce or going and buying a bottle of malt vinegar? So just in case there is the shortage at the Long John Silver's of the little packets of tartar sauce and the little packets of malt vinegar, that you're stocked up and ready to go. Is there a difference between the Heinz packet versus the Heinz bottle?
Okay, now, back in the day, I would buy, Long John Silver's themselves would sell the vinegar in a bottle.
Yes, I remember.
And I would buy it just to make my life easier. And then my father would yell at me that I got by Long John Silver's. They have, and he's not cheap. He just feels, my father's a guy who's got to get over on you every way, shape, or form. And if he feels that you, and I mean the royal you, anybody gets over on him, it's war. And that's not an overstatement. So it's why would you give them money? You're the customer. Go get your fucking tartar and vinegars. And I'm like, okay. But I'm not there where they won't give it to you. And I'm like, I'm not like my old man who'll kick down a door and come in and bash somebody's head off the counter and go give it to me or I'm doing it again, And that's why I go the other way. That I'm we always talk about this on the podcast, how I'm Mr. like path of least resistance. It's because I've lived with this my whole life.
Gotcha.
And I do think there's a difference between like maybe if they have Heinz, it would be the same. I don't know on the vinegar. Any other vinegar tastes kind of different. And then I don't know about I believe like Long John Silver's tartar sauce has a specific taste, and it goes great with the fish at Fish Math season, and I don't want to mess with that. So that's kind of my long-winded explanation for all that.
Now, I assume, and again, I assume we've been breached, that the tartar sauce that's in the packets at the Long John Silver's, the malt vinegar that's in the packets at the Long John Silver's, does not have a shelf life. Like, it's essentially the same packets that were there last year are the same ones that'll be there this year. Just like you've seen these kids come and go, the packets, there's at least a packet at the bottom of that box of the tartar sauce, the Long John Silver's, that's been there as long as you've been doing this.
Yeah, so you're saying just stockpile from last year.
So, well, don't you, so let's say this time you go, there's no limit, you're first in line, you get a hefty bag full of tartar sauce and a hefty bag full of vinegar. You're the lucky customer, they recognize your perseverance.
Right, gold card member of Long John Silver's.
Right, and let's say there's 100 packs of each. Fish Math comes and goes. Maybe only 30 get used. The other 70 get tossed in the garbage. We're not going to save them for next year.
Okay, so I do think like my Fish Math / tartar vinegar math is if I get 20 pieces of fish, just use that number for whatever amount. You only need a dozen tartars and vinegars. That's about the ratio. So a lot of people don't use it. My father, me, a couple other people use it. So I've never saved it, so I don't know what it'll taste like next year. Because usually when there's fish left over, which is part of the equation, because there's people who want to take it home, they will take, like, if there's 20 or 30 vinegars and 30 tartars, it's like everybody puts their hands in the bowl until it's empty. Now, if I had 100 or 200, I could stockpile them in the cupboard, but I usually don't have it. So I don't know what the shelf, like what they would taste like. I can imagine the vinegar would 100% be fine. Don't know about the tartar, and I don't know what the plastic, the plastic packet would do to it. If that makes any sense, like if they make the taste bad, because I don't care what anybody says. If you keep bottles of water for too long, the plastic makes them taste funny. So maybe the packets would make them taste funny. But that's an experiment I'm willing to do if I can get my hands on enough packets.
I think if you open the bottle of water and then reseal the bottle of water and put it back, but I think that then definitely the plastic starts to take its hold on it. Right. But as long as it's you don't crack that seal, you're okay.
Right, and you're not going to be opening packets of vinegar and tartar and using half of it and rolling it up with a clothespin and, so, but
I know it was a gimmick in a movie or a TV show or something, or it might have just been the Gilbert Gottfried documentary. I don't know, it all blends together, where they were taking the packets of ketchup and using them to fill the ketchup bottle.
Right.
I just imagine you doing that with the tartar sauce and the malt vinegar that's left over, filling like a bottle or one big bag, like a piping bag, like that you would use to decorate a cake. But instead, one is like a smaller tip to shoot out the vinegar like a hose. The other one is to decorate floral patterns of tartar sauce on your fish.
Making tartar roses for the fish.
Yes.
But I think maybe I would just do them in a like one of those red gas cans, and that would be the way to go.
Okay,
just a red like a fuel can full of tartar and one full of vinegar. So I think that would look good, on the table.
Right, and then it's just another 364 days until the next Fish Math. So that's
Yes, I very rarely have Long John Silver's throughout the year. It's like a special occasion. But there is a part of me that gets so shell-shocked over the vinegar and tartar that like a few years ago, I would go up and get like a meal to go and ask and like build up tartar and vinegars. Be like, all right, I'm not going to use them on these fish, but I'll get 4 or 5 here, and that'll give me a buffer for like 2 or 3 weeks in case they don't give me a lot. 2 years ago or last year I went, and I'm glad I went early because they were literally like, we only have what's ever in these boxes. And they had 3 boxes behind the counter. And they were like, supply chain issues, this and that. I don't know. And I was like, the one lady's like, I'll do you a solid. And she ended up giving me, I think I had like 28 pieces. She gave me 20 of each. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's all I need. That's all I need. More than half of the amount of fish I have. I do not think that's asking too much. Do you know what I mean? So... What? I get stressed. It's the time of year where I could fail and ruin Christmas, Joe.
Well, listen, I'm just ruining my own life. I'm glad that you have the fate and the whatevers of dozens of people in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So now see what you should do. See, I don't know what your life schedule looks like.
It's not much of a schedule, but go ahead.
But what if, like, let's say tomorrow, you go by the Long John Silver's and get like a 2-piece, right?
Right.
And say, I need extra tartar sauce and extra vinegar today.
Yeah.
And then the next day, or maybe like when you go for lunch, and you go for dinner. And then you go the next day, and you start building your stockpile up a couple days beforehand. Now, granted, what you should do, oh boy. Now, see, this is how deep I would be going with this if this was my. Listen, I've only got about 15 other mental things that pollute my mind on a daily basis. I'm trying to help you with one of yours, right?
Right. Don't worry, my mind is plenty polluted, Joe.
So I would befriend someone there,
right?
Okay. Get to know someone in management.
Ooh, get a job there, a part-time job.
Listen, you want to get a job there, you want to get a job there, right? That's your business.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what the truck schedule is.
Right, and maybe they fall off the back.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, you make that friend. Sunday, truck ain't coming on Sunday. Find out what day the truck comes. How soon they need to have an order on there. And just make the suggestion. You're like, I'm always here Christmas Eve, and you guys always run out of tartar sauce and vinegar. Maybe you should, like, just for this truck order, you should double the order for it.
Right.
Ask them to send you another box. What's it going to hurt? It never goes bad, right?
Right.
Right.
I don't know. I we'll see. That could be a possibility.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to figure out a way to make your life easier for you.
Right, and this is one of those things that's really not like, it's not end of the world. Like we're having a lot of fun on this show, folks.
Yeah, we're all smiles.
Right, we're kibitzing around, right? But what I mean is, it's the old man in my life. Just no, like, do you know how I can make people's lives hard? Just the way I am. I learned it from watching you, Dad. Do you know what I mean? And he's perfected it at 70 some years. And it's literally the whole thing of sitting down to dinner and being like, when is this fucking ride going to go off the rails? And it's like walking on eggshells around this guy. And it's just like, okay, we used to have a bet. He's calmed down. I think we've talked about this. When is he going to say the misogynistic thing? When is he going to say the racist thing? When is he going to say he'll kill somebody because they pissed him off? And me and my brother would take bets. And we would look at each other and we'd have our watches and our phones ready and be like that. So that's what it is. And when the day's over, it's gone. It's not, again, he'll be on my case in 364 days. But that one day, it's just like, oh my God, I know it's just going to be nonstop for 2 hours, and then I'll be good. I would like it only for like 20 minutes for that 2 hours, but it'll be an hour and 45 if I don't have that, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So, but he's a great guy because he has all the money in the family.
There you go.
That's why I stick around, Joe.
Yes. We had April's work Christmas party.
I had heard through the grapevine.
Yes, this past Sunday. And there was some new folks that were there. A lot of like new younger folks. It's a family business. It'll be like, oh, my 15-year-old son needs a job, while he's in school. And they're like, okay, you can come and work here for a couple hours a week or whatever it is. And then it's like, oh, the old senile racist cousin that just drifted into town, he also needs something to do. And it's like, it's both ends, right?
Right.
So the Christmas party is everyone together. And, the things that you were saying about you and your brother, how you have your watch timed of when your dad is going to say these sort of things.
Right.
It's one thing for him to, like, what is the age of the youngest person that's at one of your family gatherings?
Well, over the years, it would change. I would say
this year, what do you think it's going to be?
This year, the youngest person at the dinner, might be 10.
Okay.
Right.
But again, usually they're the outlier to have someone there who's that young, right?
Yeah. Usually 45 is the youngest.
There you go. So it's a spread.
Yeah.
So it's like these kids, they're like college age kids. And are you familiar with Jackie the Joke Man?
Yeah. Don't you remember? We saw him at the Sherman Theater, and we were the best crowd he ever had.
That's right.
That's all I always remember. He told us that. So
that's right. And Jackie would never lie. You're not allowed to lie into a microphone.
No. And maybe he had a better crowd after, but definitely not before.
Right. And some of Jackie's famous jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe maybe some of the voices that he uses to tell those jokes. Right.
I know he used to do some people from the Far East in his jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that accent, but go ahead.
Right. So when the older folks drifting into town,
right,
and they're telling jokes and stories with those sort of accents to a room that's like primarily, like I would say, again, primarily, I would say if there was 20 people there, half of them were between the ages of like 15 to 22.
Right.
And just to see the looks on their faces to hear a person speaking that way.
Absolute horror.
And it's like, it was one of those looks like, oh, I thought these people only existed in like movies. TV or movies as like the butt of a joke, but here's one for real. And I would just try to catch their glance and just shake my head, just like, you know what I mean? Don't say nothing. Just let them go and just say, and then leave the room.
I'll tell you, and I mean, we'll get back to your party, but that always reminds me, and I tell the story anytime somebody does that. It was about 8 years ago, whatever. It was like one of the anniversaries, or they just had Blazing Saddles come back to the theaters. You know what I mean? Like they'll have the old movies, and they just like, oh, Wednesday and Sunday, this old movie's going to play. And I'll never forget, me and my one friend is like, you want to go see Blazing Saddles? I'm like, oh, it's in the theater? It was like, yes. Fastest decision I ever made. And I'll never forget sitting in the theater, and when it starts out, and you could hear the whole audience gasp. You know what I mean? Like there's some laughing because like we know, and then as the movie goes on, you could feel the sphincters loosen and start laughing and like understand the joke. But it was one of the most like it was like a learning experience. I'm like, how long is this going to take? And it took about 8 to 10 minutes into the movie before everybody was on board.
Gotcha. Can't imagine someone seeing that movie for the first time. You know?
Yeah. But so the party was good. You got
party was good. They got these. They got like food from all over the place, whatever. But I tell you, Todd, nothing beats a good meatball.
I could get by that.
All right, I there's meatballs that I had at this benefit a couple years ago. And again, not sponsored, but there's a place in Dallas that's called Fire and Ice.
I heard of it. Not the comic characters, but yeah.
No, not the right. So they donated meatballs for the thing, and I had them. I'm like, oh my God, these are like the best meatballs I've ever had in my life. And the guy's like, oh yeah, it's like it's pork, it's beef, it's lamb, it's like, you know, veal, it's like all these different meats all blended together with like whatever the seasoning and stuff. Right. And I'm like, here I am my whole life. I've just been making meatballs, just like using beef, right? I didn't think there's other meats that I could use in a meatball. And that's what one of these, I forget the name of the place that they got them from was. But it was those kind of meatballs. They were bigger. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, I remember like vividly. We drive past the place where it had the meatballs from Fire and Ice. Like we can go to Fire and Ice, right?
Right.
And I could go there and get meatballs. Or we could drive past the VFW hall where Fire and Ice catered and had the meatballs. I'm like, oh, remember the time I had those really good meatballs there?
Right. Now you'll be, and now you know what? You'll go, like say they have, like you say, they have them at Fire and Ice. Yes. They won't be the same. Like they'll never live up to that first time, man.
It's been a long time. It's been, I would say maybe like 8 years. I think they'd live up to them. I think part of it was because I wasn't paying for them.
That is part of it. Yeah. Free makes everything taste better. That's why free tartar and vinegar taste better, Joe.
We tied it all back around, yes.
That's what I do.
So was there anything else we needed to cover on the food show after dark?
No, I think we're good. We didn't talk about weather, so we're good.
I almost did. I stopped myself.
You stumbled, but you righted the ship.
That's right. So, hey, everyone. Thanks for listening, of course. This was Longbox Heroes After Dark 475. It's an anniversary episode. Sure, why the hell not? Right. Thanks for signing up for the Patreon. Thanks for your continued support of the show in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're just listening to the show, whether you're sharing it, whether you're retweeting something, telling a friend, whatever it is. You know, I'm always still shocked to hear people only listen to After Dark or only listen to Longbox Heroes. It's like the two podcasts complement each other, you know?
They do. And yeah. If you get them in the correct listening order, all the better, Joe.
Even more complimentary. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. We'll be back one more before the end of 2023. And I think that's maybe when I'll read through my list of pet peeves on podcasts.
I'm holding my breath. I can't.
I know. I'll send you the list so you could read along with me.
You know what? You could send me the list so I could get my arguments in advance. So you know how I stumble over things? I could write my thesis before the show.
Gotcha. All right. And yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week. Have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that jazz.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.